Back with another edition of the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast with you as always, Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, NFL.com. Sam McDowell is from the Kansas City Star. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. We are talking Chiefs football as they get ready to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Monday night football game. Will this game be a better barometer on the Chiefs than what we saw from a Ravens team that was banged up? Does the passing game take another step forward? Xavier Worthy, can he make the same kind of impact? Are the Jags for real? Should the Chiefs have any fear for Trevor Lawrence? What about concerns in the kicking game? Harrison Butker, should they be worried about where he's at? Chiefs, again, the favorite in the AFC West. Is that reality? Were they ever not the favorite? What are the keys to the game? Who wins this thing when it's all said and done? We're talking about it right here, right now on the Red, Gold, and Bold.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it, and thank you for joining us here on a Friday. Remember, if you're catching us via the podcast, we stream live Friday mornings at 10 a.m. You can line up in the chat room with many of your other fans of the Red, Gold, and Bold and have your opinions heard right here. We like to flash them up on the screen. We do that from time to time, so we'd love to have you join us here. Guys, let's jump right in and talk about what the Chiefs are right now. We saw a great performance, Jeff, against the Baltimore Ravens, but we know there were injuries there. Jaguars, maybe surprisingly, maybe not. I don't know. Some people had them as their surprise team, but I don't know who that was. But at 3-1,
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Who did pick them?
That was me. That was me.
All right.
But is this a better barometer for what the Chiefs are? This Jags team that's not banged up and is 3-1.
I think so. I mean, nothing against the Ravens, but they did have a lot of injuries, and that game did get crazy when those injuries became a bigger factor. And I was kind of starting to warm up to Jacksonville last week when they beat San Francisco, but I liked them a lot more after watching San Francisco against the Rams last night, because that made that win a lot more real for them. And I like Liam Cohen a lot, what he's been able to do with that team. I liked him when he was in Tampa Bay working with Baker Mayfield. I think he's a smart coach. They're playing to their defense, which has 13 turnovers. They obviously have a good run game with Travis Etienne. They haven't gotten Trevor Lawrence going, but I think they play pretty sound football, and I think they're pretty smart. And they're probably going to want to prove that 3-1 record is real. And so when you're playing down there against a team that's motivated and young, this is a much bigger test probably than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. How about you, Sam? Is this the one that's going to really tell us what the Chiefs are?
I don't think so. I think it's important for the Chiefs to repeat what they did last week, but
Can I get a clarification before you go further? You don't think so because you think it's further down the road, or you don't think so because we already know?
I don't. Well, neither of those actually. It didn't used to matter who the Chiefs played. Like the Chiefs at their best during this dynasty, the opponent has mattered less than themselves. And Jeff put this question on our sheet. It's totally valid. I'm not dismissing it at all. It did prompt me to look up what the Chiefs have been during this dynasty era, and Patrick Mahomes' career passer rating against teams below 500 since he started games for the Chiefs is 100.6. His career passer rating against teams Above 500 is 103.2. Like, he's been better against better teams. Like, that's who the Chiefs have been at their best. That's the reason that they've been to the Super Bowl 3 straight years. It's the reason that they typically have gotten home field advantage, that they've only once had to go on the road to reach that Super Bowl. It's because they beat good teams. They play at their best against good teams. So I think the opponent should not be driving the Chiefs barometer. We should be judging just on how they play, because that used to be how we judge the Chiefs, is regardless of opponent, just how are they playing.
So it's not that you don't think the Jags are that good.
I think the Jaguars, I'm not, I guess I would say this. If I had picked them as my surprise team, I would not be celebrating that quite yet after 4 weeks.
Come on. You got to take your wins when you can get them.
Oh, I agree with you that they've been off to a great start. There's some luck factor that's going their way, right? I mean,
What?
Those turnovers, I don't think are sustainable.
A lot of turnovers.
17
That's why
games.
I'm getting it in now, Sam. I agree with you 100%. That's why I'm getting it in now.
Yeah, that's what we always say. Vahe Gregorian and I always joke as a columnist, whenever you're proven wrong a week later, you just say it was true when I wrote it. So there you go.
That's good. That's good. Jeff, do you live by that motto as well with your writing? You know?
No. It's always a different world now that we live in. So yeah, I'm always mindful of looking bad.
Yeah. It is. Trust me. I'm just counting on the fact that no one watches old episodes. That's what I'm counting on here, right? Like, it'll just fly away. It'll flutter away here. Does the passing game take another step forward, right? Like, do we think, Jeff, that, we saw progress? Are we going to see another step here against Jacksonville?
I think it'll probably be about the same or less. Again, I feel like a lot of what they were able to do in the past game had a lot to do with what the Ravens put out there defensively. And so when you don't have your top 3 corners and your Pro Bowl middle linebackers gone and you don't have a pass rush, it's hard to affect the passing game. And so I do believe that Jacksonville probably offers a tougher test right now. Now, if you said both teams being healthy, it's not even close. The Ravens have the much better team and the much better defense as far as personnel. But I do think that Jacksonville, the way they've been playing, it's always tough with these kind of teams to really know if they're real or not. But, one thing I disagree with Sam about, I do think those turnovers, fluky or not, you get 13 turnovers in 4 games, you're doing something right. There's guys around the football and guys are making plays, and that ends up really hurting you offensively. So I don't expect to have the deep passing game being as available because the Jags have a good pass rush. I think that they will try to take that away and make them run the football more, and they have the personnel to do it. Doesn't mean they won't play well, but I don't think we're going to see the kind of explosiveness we saw last week.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Sam? Another step? Is it your steady progression?
Well, if Jeff mentioned the fact that they could be about the same, that would be a win for the Chiefs. Like, if that's the passing game that we see moving forward, like the Chiefs are going to be in really good shape by the end of the season, because I don't think that the Chiefs passing offense, I think we saw their ceiling last week with this group. I mean, Rashee Rice certainly adds a different dynamic, but I don't think that we're going to see them tap into something that they couldn't tap into a week ago. I'm still going to go back to the fact that as much as the talk was about Xavier Worthy after that game, for all the right reasons, like Xavier Worthy adds a dimension that they literally don't have on their roster when he's out. But I still come back to the offensive line. I still think the biggest discrepancy in what we saw last week versus the first 3 is, 1, an offensive line that protected him better than he'd been protected all season, but 2, a quarterback that reacted to clean pockets better than he's reacted all season. I looked this up for a column that I wrote in the Star this week, but in week 2 against the Eagles, Patrick Mahomes scrambled 5 times from clean pockets. Left clean pockets 5 times. I mean, 23% of the snaps, almost 1 out of every 4 clean pockets he had, he was still scrambling. Last week against the Ravens, he only scrambled once from a clean pocket. And I think that's the difference, is a quarterback not only is getting protected better, but he believes he's going to be protected better. And by the way, all the numbers show that he's better when he uses his second and third read than when he throws to his first read this year. So there's a lot of importance in a quarterback staying in the pocket and believing he can stay in the pocket.
On those numbers, does it show whether he was successful on the runs?
You could go play by play by it. I did not go play-by-play by
Okay. Because I'd be curious because I do think they've spied him the last couple of weeks. And so was it that, okay, I see the spy. I know I've got an extra guy. I think that's great information. And I think it speaks to exactly what you're saying. We know the line blocking grades were better. The protection was there. And he's more likely to get a big play throwing the ball downfield to a guy running at top speed the right direction. I definitely agree with that. But I'd be interested if how much of that was schematic, right? Like, was it they're playing man-to-man in the first ones, and he's like, I got 17 yards of green. I'm taking it right now. Did he leave the pocket because he saw opportunity and succeeded with that opportunity, or did he leave the pocket because of false fears and a lack of trust in his offensive line? I think that's that's why the coaches go back and watch the tape of everything and chart everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few anecdotal examples of that. I mean, one is a play against the Eagles where he gets like 7-8 yards and Juju Smith-Schuster is wide open over the middle, and he instead elects to scramble on that. There's a play against the Ravens where when he passed the line of scrimmage, for example, that was the time where he left a clean pocket. If you go back and watch when he passed the line of scrimmage and came back and then tried to throw it because he decided there was an opening there and there really wasn't. He didn't need to leave that pocket. And then there were a couple times where against Tyquan Thornton against the Giants, the touchdown in the back of the end zone, that's his third read on that play. He decided to stay in the pocket and see what was there. And he did that on the opening drive too against the Ravens last week on the third down pass that got batted down that ends up making them settle for a field goal. But Juju Smith-Schuster's open and it's there. And it's because he sticks with it. And I realized that pass got batted down. I don't think a batted pass is generally reflective of the success intentions of a play. I think that play could have gained something. I also think batted down passes are guys that actually are getting beat. Typically, it's not a guy in his face. So anecdotally, I just think and look, like I said, statistically, I mean, he's much better when he looks at his second or third read. I think his pass rating this year is only like 80 on his first read. It's been much better when he throws, to his second or third read. It's been over 100 this year.
To answer the question, like, does it take another step forward? I think the answer is no, because, let me put it this way. I think to the naked eye, the answer will be no, right? I don't think they're going to have the success against a healthier Jags defense that they had against the Ravens. So from that standpoint, I think, we're going to look at it and say no. I don't think they're going to protect quite as well. So he's going to have to get out of Dodge a couple of times, I think, in this one. I think the Jags will probably also not spy as much because of the fear they're going to have for Xavier Worthy, and they're going to want to put more people back in coverage. So I think we're going to see him run more, maybe by design, by expectation, knowing it's going to be there. So that will take away a little bit of the perception. I think it's going to be a rougher game. I mean, I don't think they're in the 3.5 range because they think this is going to be a walk. I mean, I think the Jags are going to drag it down. They, to me, are playing Alex Smith / Jackson Dart football with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they're playing to shorten the game, turn it into a rock fight, muddy the waters, and I think they'll do that. That being said, and I think the real big step we all know is when Rashee Rice is added and they get that depth of receiver. That being said, Jeff, we can agree, if they do go bombs away in this one, if we all agree that we're not going to see a big jump this week. If there is a big jump, it's a big sign of improvement, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I would be I think everybody would be pleasantly surprised as a Chiefs fan if you see them do even more with the passing game this week against Jacksonville. But Sam's right, and you're right. It's hard to see how that can be. And Sam made the point that we've always measured the Chiefs by how they play. They're their own barometer, but they're not the same team right now. And so we have to look at them as a team they are without their best weapons, without a really good run game, which is going to be a factor here, as it's been throughout the entire year. It's going to be more of a challenge. No defense is going to allow you to keep playing the way they played against Baltimore all season long. They're going to adjust, and they're going to say, okay, you can do that. We're going to make you run it. We're going to make you hand it to Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and all those guys 20, 30 times, and Mahomes can scramble. And so, I don't see where that's – until Rashee Rice is back and he's more of an option, I don't see where that is really going to be a possibility for them. I mean, as well as Tyquan Thornton and Juju and Hollywood played in that game last week, a lot of that was who was on the field against them.
Yeah, that's what we talked about it. More about the Chiefs, more about the Ravens when we talked back on Tuesday night. All right, we do want to get into Xavier Worthy and what kind of impact he will make in this game. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot.
This episode of Red, Gold, and Bold is brought to you by Frontier Justice, where freedom is a lifestyle grounded in safety, responsibility, and respect. With locations in Lee Summit, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and Jenks, Oklahoma, Frontier Justice offers firearms retail, a premier indoor shooting range, and training all under one roof. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find expert staff, top-tier gear, and a strong sense of community. Faith, family, freedom. That's what Frontier Justice stands for. Visit frontier-justice.com to learn more.
All right, let's talk about Xavier Worthy. Is this, we see what we've seen, Sam, from Xavier Worthy in that last game, and now we should expect that kind of production each game? Or is he going to be, some weeks are his week, other weeks are someone else's?
Yeah, I mean, I'm eager to see actually what the Jaguars defense does against Xavier Worthy, because towards the end of last season, once he started getting on a roll, we started seeing some teams account for him in a way that they didn't earlier in the year. And I thought that's the way we'd see the Ravens account for him. But instead, I think maybe they were skeptical of him coming back and exactly how fast he would be on the field after really not playing at all this year. And the Jaguars shouldn't have that same skepticism because they saw it. And so to me, I think that the question for the Chiefs is, what do you do if somebody gives all their attention to Xavier Worthy? What are your other options? Because there's going to be openings on the field that there weren't in the first 3 weeks of the season because you didn't have somebody who was demanding that sort of attention. This is one of the reasons I am a little bit iffy on where the Jaguars are. They really haven't played great wide receivers outside of Jamar Chase, who was playing with Jake Browning, and Chase put up like 10 for 165 on him. Like, they really, like, even Tet McMillan in the opener had a good week as the number 2 guy. T. Higgins had a pretty good week. I think put up 70 yards, 65 yards, something like that. So we really haven't seen the Jaguars. I mean, it's not like Houston's got great wide receivers. The 49ers had guys out. We haven't seen them shut down somebody else's number 1 wide receiver yet. And Xavier Worthy, for whatever you think he should be on a roster, he's clearly the best that the Chiefs have.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think this is a weapon that's always going to get his? I mean, I'm not talking 17 games,
No.
2,500 yards from scrimmage. I mean, there'll be days. But do you think you can settle in that Xavier Worthy is going to be a productive player week in, week out for this team?
I think he'll be productive. I'm a little bit leery of getting to the place where he's a dominant player or a great player. I would never talk about him the same way as a Jamar Chase, or I think Houston's got Nico Collins, who's a good player. I don't think he's at that level. I think he's a really talented guy they're finding ways to use him. And I always feel like when Andy Reid starts the season off, he's always got a few things that he's held close to his vest and he's able to get over on defenses because they don't know what to expect. And I think that was a big part of what happened last week with Xavier Worthy. Like Sam's right. They didn't know. Ravens didn't know what was coming, probably underestimated him, and they unleashed him. And so I think this coming week and moving forward, we'll see how that plays out. But I remember the excitement about him in week 1 of last year, and then he vanished from the offense for like 6 weeks. And so I think he's got to show, just because of the way he's built and the things they can do with him. I'm not ready to think he's going to go out week in and week out and do what he did last week. I think there's going to be challenges that come every week. And a lot of that really comes back to Mahomes' comfort level. If he's pressed and panicked and getting not as good protection as he got this last week, then I don't think throwing the football down the field is going to be as much of a factor in this game, which is where he really that's a big part of what makes him a dangerous weapon. Not going down the field, but the threat of him going down the field.
Yeah,
I agree with Jeff on Collins. He did put up 8 for 104 against the Jaguars as well.
Yeah, so they're there to be taken. Like, and that would make sense. I mean, they've had so many takeaways, unless they're just all fluky. And I have not watched tape on what each takeaway has been, but you would think that they're probably gambling a little bit, right? To have that quantity of takeouts, which would leave them susceptible to the big plays.
Which is what, we used to argue when the Chiefs defense wasn't good, that they should gamble more, right? I mean, the Jaguars did not have a good defense the last couple of years at all. I think defenses that don't have premier talent should gamble more frequently. So if that is the case, you're right, Soren. I mean, we don't know the case of every single turnover this year. I think there's been 13 of them, but a team like that should be taking some chances.
Yeah, I will say this before we get. This is an interesting game for me from the Travis Hunter perspective. Do they take a guy like that and put him on a Xavier Worthy?
Yeah,
to create some opportunities on defense. That's what I'm really curious about in this game. How they use him.
That is interesting. By the way, Jeff, would you remind Sam that their turnovers on offense, but their takeaways on defense? Let's give credit.
Take the ball away. Yep.
Where credit is due, Sam. Their takeaways. The Jags.
Well, I think you'd have to call them giveaways then, because they're both called turnovers.
Yeah. one. Well, that's true. Okay, takeaways and giveaways. I like that. I'll go with that. I'll define that. I'm happy with working within that lane. Are the Jaguars real, Jeff?
Well, I look. I think when you're 3-1 after 4 weeks, no matter who you're playing, they haven't played. They played Carolina, who's not very good. They played Cincinnati when Joe Burrow got hurt. They played the Texans, who got their first win last week, and they beat the Niners, who were now 4-1. And so, if it was just those first three teams, I would be more skeptical. But again, I think the Niners proved yet last night that even banged up, that Rams team is really good. That Rams team is Super Bowl caliber good. And to win that game on the road with a beat-up backup quarterback said the Niners are probably a lot more viable than we thought. And so to beat the Niners on the road, I give them a ton of credit for that. And I think whenever you're turning around a team that was picking in the top 5 the year before, it's always, I think, a little bit hard for people to get on board because you just remember what they've been. But again, I think when you play good defense in this league and you run the football, you got a chance to win a lot of games. And your quarterback is not playing at a high level yet. And so this is a great test for them. I'm not sitting here and saying they're going to be a playoff team or any of that. But right now, after 4 weeks, I think they're better than most teams and better than a lot of people thought they were going to be.
How about the comment here from Brent? Jags are real in a sense that the AFC South isn't good. Well, I think the thing that we would be basing the Jags being real on is beating the 49ers. And back to Jeff's point we said earlier was the 49ers without the starting quarterback, although Mac Jones has been around the block, and without without lots of their talent. I mean, you needed a program to know who the hell they were throwing the ball to. They did still have Christian McCaffrey.
Not if you're a Chiefs fan. I mean, they were playing Sky Moore and MVS and Demarcus Robinson. And
was anybody stunned that Sky Moore was struggling to field the kick? Like, was that did anybody in San Francisco watch any tape on him fielding kicks and punts? And that was not shocking. But I mean, you were right. In Kansas City, they know, but nationally, who the hell are these guys? Was what was being said, and they were jumping out on the Rams and ultimately winning the football game against them.
Doesn't that prove what the three of us though were saying over the Chiefs with the first 3 weeks of this season that I mean, it was an excuse not to be at your best offensively, but it wasn't an excuse to be as poor as the Chiefs were offensively those first 3 weeks. I mean, the 49ers proved that last night. They're missing their quarterback, their tight end, their top wide receiver, a second wide receiver, and they're still moving the football.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think the Jags are for real. Somewhat, I'm not making fun of. Like, I think it's a valid point. Who is it? Who said that? I can't find the comment. Anyway, I think it's a valid point. Brent said it. But I look, Liam Cohen was a guy that the Chiefs were interested in at one point, right? Like, he has been in 8 years, he's had 7 jobs. And there's this little where he was the Kentucky OC and then the Rams and then back to Kentucky and then, to the Bucks as an OC. It's kind of a weird spot where what happened when he went through the Rams and then went back to Kentucky. But I know that his name was being thrown around as a guy. I don't know if it was when Kafka left for the quarterback coach here in Kansas City, that he was one of the guys and ultimately got the OC job with the Kentucky Wildcats and took that. And so it's worked out. He's a head coach now. But he's, look, Baker Mayfield, a lot of people, the Cleveland Browns clearly thought was worth nothing. And he guided him to 41 touchdowns. And that's what's such an indictment on Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, he's had success with quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence looks like they're scheming around him, Jeff. Is there anything to fear with Trevor Lawrence, or do we know that they're just going to play field position and wait for the takeaways to try to win this game?
I think that, he doesn't strike fear. He shouldn't strike fear in you right now. I think they respect him, but I think being dangerous is a whole different conversation. I feel like the Jaguars win this game. Trevor Lawrence has played a good game. Like, I don't think they're going to defense and run it up and end up walking out with a win against the Chiefs doing that. I mean, they're going to ask him, Trevor Lawrence, to make plays. They're going to put him in positions to make plays, and they're going to blitz him like crazy. And he's got to play. Justin Herbert played in week 1. I think Justin Herbert has turned a corner with Jim Harbaugh because Jim Harbaugh put a structure in place that allowed Justin Herbert to prosper, which is we're going to play good defense. We're going to have a big offensive line. We're going to run the football. And Liam Cohen, I think, is doing some of the same things with Trevor Lawrence, where you see the same variables coming into play, but still it's up to Trevor Lawrence to do that. And I've always had my questions about Trevor Lawrence since he came into the NFL, because he always struck me as a guy who played great when he had great players around him and didn't play great when the guys weren't so great around him. And so this is a great chance for him to show how good he is, how much he's grown. And you go back to Liam Cohen, he really impressed me when he was coaching Tampa Bay, the OC for them last year, and came in without those receivers and they almost pulled out a win because of the way they had a great game plan. So Cohen can scheme it up, but the question is, can the quarterback actually execute and play at a high level?
Is there, some secret plays that you think they're going to, throw out there and Trevor Lawrence is going to explode? Or is Trevor Lawrence just going to go the way of, I don't want to say Tim Couch. I think he's proven to be more than that, but and he has not proven to be Alex Smith yet, but he's gotten to the playoffs, won a playoff game. That's something Alex Smith did in San Francisco. Didn't win one more the rest of his career. But, is it settled? He just is okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Soren, you had him ranked like 30th on your quarterback list, which, by the way, picking a team to reach the playoffs is a surprise when you hate their quarterback. Is
I know,
dynamic, right?
But Alex Smith,
bold and daring.
But Alex Smith made it was bold and daring. That's right. That is part of the reason why it was bold and daring. But Alex Smith made the playoffs, right? Like, getting to the playoffs and being the commercial filler is not as hard as NFL franchises want to make you think it is. Right? Like, if you have a decent roster, you're in that now 6-11 to 11-6. I used to say 6-10 to 10-6. It applied more. It's kind of a wider range now. Maybe it's, all those teams are kind of the same. If you just don't turn the ball over, if you get fortunate with takeaways, if the schedule smiles on you, you get your opponents at the right time. I mean, to a degree, we could look back and say, well, the 49ers did a great job against the Rams, but they were banged up, and that's why the Jags got them. That may be one of the fortunate things that turned a loss into a win. They go 10-7, they get to the playoffs, and then they whimper out. I mean, I think Dak Prescott, I like Dak more than I like Trevor Lawrence, but I think there are those guys that are just okay, and if you get a good coach that can scheme around their weaknesses and try to magnify their successes, you can be all right with them. And I think that's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some numbers on Trevor Lawrence through the first 4 weeks that are like really bad. I mean, he's on deep passes, as much as we talked about the Chiefs, like Patrick Mahomes was the worst rated quarterback a year ago, and I think his rating was like in the 60s when he threw downfield. Trevor Lawrence's passer rating this year on deep passes is 1. 1 is his passer rating. He's like 1 out of 11 with a pick this year. His intermediate stuff has been terrible. But what's really interesting to me that's going to be a dilemma for Steve Spagnuolo is he's the least frequently blitzed quarterback in the league. There's a reason for it. Like, he's performed pretty well against the blitz. He's been terrible when teams just play coverage against him. That's not the way Steve Spagnuolo likes to play football. So I'm interested to see how much do the Chiefs blitz this guy, given the fact that really about the only success he's had this year is when teams bring extra rushers.
Yeah, that is interesting. And you're the one who pointed out they really didn't blitz that much against the Ravens. So it's not like Spagnuolo's going to blitz no matter what. He'll look at what he sees on tape. Joel says if your 1-1 quarterback is taking the massive contract, I think is what he means, being Alex Smith isn't good enough. You failed. I would tend to agree. And he also asked, who are his wide receivers? And that's what I'll mention and why I was so down on him. Yeah. Brian Thomas emerged last year as a wide receiver. Looked fantastic. Every single one of his 100-yard receiving games came without Trevor Lawrence, and he has been disappointing this year with Trevor Lawrence. It seems like, and I don't even remember who stepped in for Trevor Lawrence last year. I don't even remember who it was.
Was it Mac Jones?
Might have been.
It might have been Mac Jones.
I think you're right. Yeah. And Mac Jones could find Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas looked like a star. Mac Jones made Brian Thomas a first-round pick in fantasy leagues. Trevor Lawrence is pissing off fantasy football owners, right? Like me, who I was like, okay, I know that stat, but that has to be a fluke, right? He'll look at the tape and he'll say, okay, what did Mac Jones do to get this guy going? I've got to duplicate that. He can't get him the ball, right? And that is
correct. You're spending way too much time around the Jaguars.
I was going to say,
fantasy rosters, bold and daring predictions. Good Lord.
I see my frustration. You see my frustration. The man who invested in Brian Thomas in a lot of ways. That's what's coming out here. All right. What are our concerns about Harrison Butker? Keys to the game who wins. We'll do that after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. And if you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. By the way, a little extra love for our sponsors. Our friends at Gann resurfaced our neighborhood parking lot. They did a phenomenal job, and Italian Delight will be my spread on Monday night for the Chiefs game. So love to our sponsors there, Italian Delight and Gann. How about our concerns on Harrison Butker? Where is it at now? What level are you at on a concern, Jeff?
Scale of 10, I'm at an 8.
Okay.
I thought this was an issue a couple weeks ago, and it's whatever. It's it's Harry. He'll get back right. He's missed a kick in every game now. Is that right?
Yes.
Every game.
Yeah.
And so you can't be one of the best kickers ever, accuracy wise, and one of the most clutch kickers ever, and then fall into this realm. But I've seen Justin Tucker do this. I'm not saying he's going to go that far down, but the kid in Atlanta, he's become a less reliable kicker. I've seen the kid in Cincinnati, Evan McPherson, who was nails during the Super Bowl run back in 21. He's become less reliable. And so this happens. And maybe it's happening to him. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe something's going on. But he's missing kicks badly, and he's missing kicks that should be makeable. And again, throughout what happened against Baltimore, they're going to play a lot more close games against better teams who are healthier. And they're going to need him to make kicks. And right now, I don't trust him to do it consistently.
Okay. You said an 8 on a scale of 10. That's good. Let's use a 10-point scale. Sam, where are you at?
Well, I don't think any kicker should ever be below like a 5, right?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he's going that direction. Hey.
I don't think you should ever feel confident in this position. I mean, yeah, there's only been 11 missed extra points in the entire league in 4 weeks. He's missed 2 of them. He's got the most misses. I mean, somebody pointed out that some of those are from 50. Nobody's missed more from 50 plus than Harrison Butker has, and guys have attempted more from 50 plus than Harrison Butker has. You have to not only wonder what the cause of this has been, but also what the effect of this has been. I mean, kickers can certainly feel it when they have missed, and where's his head at now after missing them? And so I wonder both of those questions. What's causing him to miss 5 kicks in just 4 weeks? But then even if he does feel healthy, even if he does feel right, what's going to be the effect of the fact he has missed 5 kicks over the last 4 weeks? How's he going to handle that aspect? I mean, he's a guy who's been at his best in the most pressure situations that he's had to perform in over his careers in the playoffs. I mean, he's one of the best playoff kickers of all time. But the fact that there's no, you can't go back and say, oh, well, he was great for the first 5 weeks of the season. This is a 4-week slump. Like, this is the entire season so far. He hasn't performed well at all this year. And so, yeah, I think it's totally fair to wonder what's going on and where's he at right now.
Yeah, I do. At this point, you're just whistling by the graveyard if you're not admitting, okay, there's a problem. I do think that there's enough of a track record to think that he will get it back, but yips are real, man. Like, and that's what it kind of feels like, right? Is that he's got a bit of the yips. I mean, I do wonder.
Green Bay. Who's kicker in Green Bay who was with the Packers with Aaron Rodgers who got that too?
Crosby, yeah,
Mason Crosby. Yeah.
And it's with kicks, to your point on yips, and like everything's a small sample size. These guys kick 40 times all year.
Yeah.
60 including extra points. I mean, these guys kick 60, 70 times a whole year. I mean, you only get 5 of these tries a game. Like there's not many samples to get it right.
Well, let's flip it around and ask this. When do you make a change? What has to happen to make a change? When is it not worth continuing to try to fix him? Like, I mean, I'm surprised because I'm one of those guys 2 weeks ago that's like, this will be fine. I'm the guy Jeff was talking about. I'll be honest. And it's now at least a concern on my part. And I'm surprised that I'm asking. But I do think as an organization, you have to set that before you're in the middle of it, right? Like you need to have kind of a rule of thumb. 4 games, we're shopping. 8 games, we're shopping. Wherever it is, you need to know it because it's too easy, especially with a guy like Harrison Butker that you've had so much success with. You're always going to want week to week to be like, okay, here's what he's doing on the tape. Okay, we tweak this and it'll all be fine. You're always going to want to believe that you've got him fixed. So I think it's, taking a hard look and saying, okay, let's stay with him. But after this many weeks, we got to look around. When do you see him start to look? Go ahead, Jeff.
I was like, can you do that during the season though? You think?
I don't think that answers during the season. I mean, I think he's
no matter what. There's no time because teams have changed in season lots of times.
They have. Not every team is paying their kickers $6.25 million. But really, I mean, you want to look at the contract. You can't get out of this year or next year. Like, I think he's got $15 million dead cap if you cut him. So, like, you can't cut this contract from your roster this year or next year. So I really think the Chiefs.
Well, you June 1 it. You prorate it. You split it in half. You're carrying it for a couple of years. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I think you're right in your assessment. I just want to be clear. You can cut that in half and take it over 2 years.
Not something the Chiefs do, I guess, is what I would say. Like they don't eat contracts typically. So when you look at his contract, the answer is through next year. But realistically, for a team that's competing for Super Bowls every year, I would be stunned even if this continues, if we're talking about them bringing another kicker during the year.
Okay. Are the Chiefs the favorite in the AFC West again, Jeff, or did they never actually lose that mantle?
What are the odds right now? The Chargers still favored?
Barely. Yeah.
Barely? Yeah. I mean, I would say right now, I'd still say Chargers based on complete body of work. I mean, the Chiefs, what they did last week was a huge step forward of the Chargers losing. That helps. But I feel like the Chargers have played better football all season long and still have a game and a half lead. And I feel like Denver is going to get better. I think the Chiefs have some tough games coming up here. Chargers do too without Joe Alt. That's a huge loss for them right now, depending on how bad that ankle sprain is, to be down 2 of your offensive tackles. But I would give the advantage to the Chargers right now with the idea that the Chiefs could catch them. But I don't think that 4 games right now, what I've seen, I would say the Chiefs are a better team. I think the Chargers are still favorites.
Where do you sit, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I'd pick the Chiefs right now, and I'm actually surprised that the Chiefs are not the favorites because right now when I look at the Chargers, they're who the Chiefs were last year, just with a worse quarterback. Like their tackles are terrible because of injuries right now. Their defense is good. They have some skill position players, but I don't think Justin Herbert's good enough to overcome what Patrick Mahomes overcame last year. Justin Herbert, no quarterback in the NFL was pressured more often than Justin Herbert was last week. No quarterback in the NFL was pressured more than Justin Herbert was in week 3. I mean, back-to-back weeks, he's the most pressured quarterback in the league. And it's a credit to him, but it's also a worry, the fact that he will stand in there and take a hit. I mean, I think Justin Herbert's about as tough as they come in the NFL. I don't know how you can survive that. I mean, Joe Alt's probably going to miss 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Slater's out for the year. I just don't see this going well for the Chargers right now. So it's not actually about my faith in the Chiefs, going 13-4 or something. It's more that I think there should be real concern about protecting your quarterback in LA right now.
I think Jim Harbaugh is an excellent coach, and I think he'll do a really good job. But if we're any other coach, I'd be the Chargers are the third favorite now. They're behind the Chiefs and the Broncos because of the way the injuries have gone. But I think Jim Harbaugh does a great job scheming, just like, Kyle Shanahan. He didn't have a shot last night, and here he comes. Like, the good coaches are going to be in the fight to the end. I mean, if you think you got a gimme, you're making a mistake. But I do think the Chiefs are the favorite now because of their pedigree and their history. 2 years ago, they did this. They spotted the field, the lead. These teams are better, but they haven't spotted them the lead that they spot. We weren't as far. They were 7 games into the year, and still with a losing record, I think, a couple of years ago, and would get it turned around and win the AFC West and go to the Super Bowl. Here it's much earlier, and they appear to be riding the ship, and they're getting Rashee Rice back. I think they should be the favorite. I don't think they should be the favorite where they're favored against the field, which is how this usually is, where you can have anybody. I'll take the Chiefs. Chiefs are favorite in that scenario. I think Denver presents that's the team we're probably maybe overlooking. I mean, their 2 losses are kind of fluky in a way. I mean, we're not far away from looking at the Denver Broncos as a 4-0 team. And when Chiefs fans, every fan of every team loves to find all the little things. If we did this different, boy, look where we are. Well, the Denver Broncos have the best case for that, for how impressive.
Yeah, that's probably right. I guess, one of the things I look at the Chargers, and you're right, we need to be discussing the Broncos probably close to as much as the Chargers. But, Herbert threw the ball, 41 times last week. The week before against Denver, I think he threw it 46 times. You guys, I think Harbaugh's a great coach. I know you guys are higher on him though than I am, but I think one of the reasons is he's always established a really good running game that's been tough for teams to get him out of that. This to me is not the Chargers' sustainable model to have Justin Herbert drop, because he's been sacked too. So he's dropped back 95 times in 2 weeks and just been hit like crazy. That's not a sustainable model to me for the Chargers to win a division.
I think it's more of a Herbert problem than it is a Harbaugh problem. I think Herbert has, with clean pocket, things going well, he looks as good as anybody. Things start going to crap, he doesn't look very good. He doesn't have the instincts on that, when to get out of the pocket. I think he takes too many sacks. Yeah, I think Herbert would be the issue. Like that. Yeah. And I think that's why Jim Harbaugh knew it. And that's why he went out and took another offensive tackle when he already had a left tackle. That was the plan. Let's keep this guy clean, and he can play really good football. I mean, he even said it. We need to get better talent around Justin Herbert, is what he told everybody. And everyone thought of that as because he loves him so much. No, I think it's because he's that's how I win, he needs everything to be working for him.
Yeah, I know what he is.
Yeah, exactly. Keys to the game, Sam. What are they for the Chiefs to win?
Well, I think a lot of people here would look at the Jaguars defense. There's something we haven't talked about yet in these 45 minutes, which is the Jaguars offensive line is terrific this year through 4 weeks. I mean, ESPN, I think, has got them ranked as the second best run blocking unit and the second best pass blocking unit. They've allowed the second fewest pressures in the NFL. So as much as we've talked about the Chiefs pass rush, and I think George Karlaftis has had 2 really good weeks, not just against the pass, but also against the run. I think the biggest question in this game is, how do the Chiefs generate pressure, especially given what I mentioned earlier, that the one spot where Trevor Lawrence has been pretty good is when you blitz them. Well, when the Chiefs don't blitz them, don't blitz with good offensive lines, and this is one, can they generate pressure just bringing 4? But then if they bring extra guys, it's the one spot where the quarterback's good. So that's to me is the dilemma for the Chiefs is you've got to be able to generate pressure with 4, and they haven't done that a ton this year.
Yeah, interesting. All right, Jeff, what are your keys to a Chiefs win?
I would say don't fall in love with yourself after last week. Don't come in thinking you're going to be guns blazing, lighting up the sky with fireworks, because I think this is going to be a rock fight type of game. And if you get out there and you take a sack, Josh Hines Allen, keeps changing his name, gets loose or gives Josh Simmons problems, if they're able to keep generating turnovers, it's going to be a long game. And so I think the Chiefs should win this game, but you're on somebody's home turf. You start turning the ball over. You start playing as if you're the better team. You should just win. It's going to be rough. I mean, I think that's what happened to the Rams last night. But by all means, they should have won. They were the more talented, healthier team, and they end up losing because the other team said, we're not doing that. We're pretty good too. So I think Liam Cohen's going to have a pretty good game plan, and the Chiefs are going to have to find a way to shut down their run and not turn the ball over in this one to keep winning.
Yeah. Okay. I do think that, they want to keep Trevor Lawrence playing the way he's playing. Don't let him become a hero. I think Sam made a good point. Like, he's been good against the blitz. Don't go in there cavalier and be like, well, I'll show you. He hadn't faced our blitz yet. Just be steady, get a win, go down to Jacksonville, have a business-like performance, right? Like, go in there. I do worry a little bit that, like, there's the letdown, in a basketball game when a team's down 14, they roar back, they tie it, there's 2.5 to go, and they kind of go, okay, we're here. Now we're fine. And then the team surges again. You see it all the time. They get back to even, and then there's this kind of lull or letdown. And I feel kind of like there maybe is a chance that that's the case for the Chiefs. I don't think so. I think the key is going to be to take the Jags serious, go in, play your game, and I think you come away with a win. Jeff, do they win? What's your prediction?
On the radio, I picked Chiefs 27-24. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. Chiefs 27-24. Sam?
I've got the Chiefs at 23-19.
23-19. Okay. I'm going Chiefs 23-13. I think defensively, I think the Chiefs will take care of the football. I do think the offense is not going to look as good, and we'll be talking about that. I think the Jags will have some success on defense. I just don't see the Jags. Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas, if it materializes in this game, it's the first time, and that's their best weapon. And I think ETN, they will bottle up. They've done a good job of that. And so I think the defense is the one that drives the ship, and they win. I could see 23-20 or something like that, but I like the Chiefs minus the points. So I want to make sure it's clear. I don't think I think it's the Chiefs covering the 3.5 when it's all said and done. You can always support the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast by supporting our great sponsors. Gann Asphalt and Concrete has been solving parking lot problems in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. If you own or manage a business and you have any problems with your parking lot, I'll let Gann Asphalt and Concrete solve them for you. GannAsphalt.com. By our friends at Italian Delight. I mentioned it Monday night. They'll be my spread for the game. First restaurant in KC to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago, whether it's their calzones, strombolis, subs, lasagna, you name it. Daily lunch special starting at under $10. It's Italian Delight. Order online at ItalianDelightKS.com and our friends at Frontier Justice. Locations in Lee Summit, KCK, Jenks, Oklahoma. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find experts to have top gear and a strong sense of community. Find them online at frontier-justice.com. For Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.